Welcome. Keep it thorough Thursdays. It's your boy E42.
What's up, good people? It's your boy Cedric Lavelle on this fine October 6th, right? Yeah, October 6th,
Yeah,
man.
October 6th. Yep. We
Fourth quarter, 6 days
fresh in
in.
that fourth quarter, 6 days into that fourth quarter. So no more excuses, right? Crunch time. This is where you really turn it up. You know what I mean? I know me and Sid both used to play football and play sports, boy. And when it was fourth quarter, you gotta hold them
Throw the
fours up.
phones up.
Man,
Throw
it's
'em up.
crunch time. It's time to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? But so this episode episode 42. We 42 weeks in. That's crazy, right?
Hey, I'm clapping up for myself. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna just clap for myself too then, since we
I'm
ain't
clapping
clapping
up
up
for
for the whole.
myself.
You know?
But then we clapping up for each other too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. But so episode 42, and what we're gonna be talking about today is ignoring negative attention, right? And really just the effects that other people's opinions can have on you, right? And now I know it's the normal thing to say all the time, right? Is I don't care what people think, and like I'm gonna do what I want, and you know what I mean, all that, stuff that people say all the time. But we all know the truth, right? Like the reality is, yeah, you may not care what everybody think, but there are some people that you care about their opinions. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's your parent, whether your mom, your dad, you want to make them proud, whatever the case may be. There's somebody's opinions that you care about, and there may be people's opinions that you care about that you know say that you don't, but you actually do, right?
Actually do. Yeah.
So with that being said, we're gonna get right off into it, right? A sound decision, blocking out the noise. So let's go on pop it off, Sid.
Man, so obviously there's always a lot of chirping. You know what I mean? A lot of people that always got something to say about whatever you do, how you move, how you respond. It's just so many things that we deal with as people, as it relates to the attention that we receive. And in many cases, people base their assumptions off of things that aren't really factual. You know what I'm saying? And it's just an assumption. You know what I'm saying? They assume certain things, or they have certain opinions about certain things without really having anything substantial or concrete to base their opinion on, right? And a lot of times those things can impact you in a negative way rather, and it can get you off track, right? You know what I'm saying? You can hear all the noise, you can hear people saying this and that, and in many cases, if you're not in a place and in a space where you can really mentally navigate through all of that, it can really have a significant impact on you, how you respond and how you react and what you do and what you start believing about yourself, right? So I believe that we all have to get to a place where we're blocking out the noise. You know what I'm saying? And that's a sound decision. Obviously, it's a play on words, but it's a decision that's really based off of how you see yourself. It's a decision that's based off of how you view your future. And it's just a decision that you make based off of what you want to do and who you want to be, right? And understanding that a lot of stuff is just noise. It's just people that have something to say that really have no validation. You know what I'm saying? And can't really justify their opinion. So 3 quick things real quick that you want to know as it relates to negative attention. 1, if it doesn't support your path, it should serve no purpose, right? If it doesn't move you forward, if it's not aligned with what your views are, if it's not something that helps get you to the next phase of your life, the next phase of growth, it has no purpose, right? It has no reason for even being in your space. It has no reason for even being processed in your mind, right? Because it doesn't support your path. It's not getting you closer to where you wanted to go. And so because it's not, it doesn't have a purpose for you, right? And then the second thing is, if it won't matter tomorrow, it shouldn't matter today, right? A lot of times people invest so much energy and so much time into things that they won't even care about tomorrow. You just responded in the moment. And in many cases, when you respond in that moment, it could be detrimental, right? It can damage a situation instead of you just not giving it thought or not giving it the time of day or even not giving it the energy. Because some things really ultimately they don't matter, right? The next day comes up and it's like, yeah, I ain't even tripping on that no more.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so why did you give so much energy into it in that moment? You know what I'm saying? If the next day you didn't care about it or really served no purpose or really didn't give you any closure, right? And so when you look at things in hindsight, it's like, man, I spent a whole hour or 2 hours going back and forth with somebody and it really got me nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like them 2 hours that you spent bickering or you know, typing to somebody about something that they said and how you feel about it, you could have invested that time into something else, right? So it's like if it doesn't matter tomorrow, it shouldn't matter to you today. You got to
Yeah.
move on. And then the last thing is, if it brings no value, it doesn't need a voice, right? And this goes to everything, encapsulates over everything that we just said. A lot of times we give people a voice and they really don't need it, right? Because what they're saying has no value. There's no validity to it. There's no facts to it. There's no evidence to what they're saying. They're just talking, right? And in many cases, people can give those individuals a voice, right? And they don't deserve it. They've done nothing to have it, but because we value their opinions, and I say value, you know, with air quotes, because you're valuing it in a negative way, but you're valuing that opinion because it goes against what you think or what you feel. You're giving that individual a voice, right? And that voice can just kind of play in your head, you know, and it can really just get you off your path, right? But
Yeah.
if it has no value, you shouldn't give it a voice. You know what I mean? And that really summarizes, you know, blocking out the noise.
Yeah, and I want to, before we move on to the next like segment, right? I want to talk about something that we spoke on when we was discussing this topic, right? And that's the difference or the distinction between like caring what somebody thinks versus like actually letting it affect you, right?
Right.
Which I think is important because like so many people are quick to say like, oh, I don't care what nobody thinks, like I don't listen to the noise, like I block it out, like I'm trying to go get a bag. I actually I'm focused on the bag, or you know what I mean. I seen a meme a couple of days ago where the response was everything shouldn't be about getting the bag. You know what I mean? You should get some sleep. You should get some rest. You should, you know what I mean? You should get some time
Yeah.
to yourself and then go get the bag. You know what I mean? Every
Right.
response can't be get the bag. But anyway, the distinction between caring versus letting it affect you, right? Now, as I said earlier, I made the comment a million times. I don't care what people think. I say it all the time. I'm probably say it a million more times. It's kind of just something you say naturally, right? But and then my response to that is I don't care what people think because my expectations of self, you know what I mean, are high enough where another person's expectations of me won't exceed myself. And like I hold myself
Right.
to a higher standard than others where they may think I'm doing good and I feel like I'm not. You know what I
Right.
mean? Now, with
Absolutely.
all of that said, and that's how I truly feel about most people. But like, you know, I care what my wife thinks. I care what
Oh
my
yeah.
mom thinks. I care what my children thinks. I care what, you know, some of my close friends think. But now if what they think don't align with what I think, I respect them enough to hear it out, but I'm not gonna let it affect the decisions I make though. Like
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
gonna have an effect on how I move forward or what I do. Now if they
Yeah.
bring something to my attention and I, you know, because I care about what they think and it's valid, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's
It has value.
add some value, then like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, okay, like you know what, I didn't even think about that. You know what I mean? Like let me incorporate that. But like that's the difference, right? And now some people let negative that negative energy and those opinions have an effect on them, right?
Absolutely.
They do let it affect their mood or how they're gonna move or the decision. And then that, you know, kind of is a segue into the next segment that we're
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
talk about, right? Which is approving the wrong message, or I'm gonna list out 5 things that can happen with negative opinions, right? Or you know, you actually letting those negative opinions, you know, penetrate and actually have an effect on you, and you know the outcome of those negative opinions. So first off is you can lose a sense of self-worth, right? And the best example or first example I can think of with that one is like if you're in a relationship, right? Like I've seen friends, be in a relationship and, they was in love with a person and, and then it kind of goes left and the person might not have been the best for them. And it's, ton of negativity, bad things. You ain't worth nothing. And that actually has an effect on them. You know what I mean? They begin to, doubt their self-worth. Like, am I good enough? You know what I mean? Like, am I the problem? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that type of negativity, right? Even a little bit, it creeps in and sets in, and now you're feeding your subconscious that. And we talked about your subconscious before, right? Whatever you feed your subconscious is what it's gonna feed back. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first example. Second one is can affect your plans and goals, right? And what I mean by that is, say you got a business partner who isn't the greatest business partner, right? They don't got your best interests at mind. And as you're, describing what your plans are, what your next steps are, what your goals are, they feed opinions that kind of go against that, right? That don't sound like it's going to lead to growth to you, right? Like they almost kind of like sound like a hater to a certain extent. Which, like though, that's another way where it can have a negative effect on your life, you know what I mean, and your goals and your plans and things that you're trying to do. The next one on the list is can kill your optimism, right? It's very natural if you're surrounded by like a lot of negativity that you'll begin to have a negative mindset, right? Like you'll begin to think of everything that could go wrong instead of focusing on the areas where it could go right, right? And like that'll kill your optimism, right? The opposite of a optimist is a pessimist, right? So like having like a pessimist, like a person comes to you with a potential opportunity and instead of embracing it and trying to figure out how you can make it work, you're thinking of, oh well, yeah, well, you do that early in the morning and I don't like morning, so I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like just focusing on negative, you know what I mean? And having somebody, feed you negative and being in negative environments can kill that optimism, and which can cause you to miss out on potential opportunities because now you're not optimistic. You're not waking up and seeing the positive in things. You're focused a lot on the negative. The next one is it can cause unhealthy levels of stress, right?
That's big, bro.
Yeah. If you're just constantly surrounded by negative messaging, right? And I don't care how strong of a person you are. You know what I mean? I don't care how independent, how great, you know what I mean? Like I don't care who you are. If you're surrounded by enough negativity, it begins to weigh on you. And if you don't got no outlets, you know what I mean? Those levels of stress are very unhealthy and can cause, physical and mental health, you know what I mean, issues. So, and that's dangerous. That's very dangerous for your life, for your sanity, right? For everything. So, affects your immune system, all type of different things. And then last but not least is it can cause you to seek approval, right? If you don't have self-worth, if you're not optimistic, if you can't, plan or focus on your goals because you think you're not good enough and everybody's kind of shooting you down, then naturally you're going to look to other people for, approval or what should I do? Like, is this a good idea? Should I do this? Like, what do you think? What do you think? You know what I mean? And become very reliant on others for you to feel validated, for you to feel good enough, right?
That's the recipe for disaster too.
No, huge recipe for disaster.
I've seen it. I've seen it countless amounts of times with people that I know personally that seek approval. You know what I'm saying? And want to be, whether it's wanting to be liked, wanting to be heard, feeling like they don't have enough validation of themselves to really hey mom.
Yeah, I see because of this joint too.
To really make these sound decisions or to really feel confident with how they go about pursuing something, right? And they have to have everybody else's opinion. And in many cases, like you were just saying, that those opinions can be negative or they can go against what you feel is right. It's like what you were saying earlier, you know, when you'll listen, but you know, you'll take it into consideration, but it won't necessarily affect how
How
you're
you
going to
move. Yeah,
ultimately
yeah.
move. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's the important piece. And I also think like social media is the epitome of a place where people go to seek approval.
Oh,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
Hell yeah.
People say all the time like they don't care what people think, but the reality is they do care what people think, and most of us do. It's human nature to want to be accepted. It's human nature to want to feel wanted, to want to, you know what I mean, have
Yeah.
companionship, and you know what I mean. That's literally human. So to say that you don't have those emotions is unhuman. That's
But
not natural.
I
That's
think how you
unhuman.
described it though was very on point when you say what you care about, right?
Well, yeah,
And how
yeah.
it
See,
affects you.
exactly.
It's
Which
two different
again,
things.
yeah,
Because you can care, you know what I'm saying, but you can also allow something to affect you because you care about it so much. You know what I mean? And so it's very important to kind of see the differences
the
between the
distinction
two, the
between them two,
distinction between the
right?
two. Yeah.
So yeah, and for the people who just kind of tapped in, what we were talking about earlier is the distinction between, you know, actually caring what people oh, she said she just tapped in. I'm gonna go ahead. What we talking about is the ignoring negative attention, right? And how everybody always talks about they don't care what people think, but the reality is there are people that we care about and we care about their opinions. And really talking about the distinction between caring, right, and whether you let it actually have an effect on the way you move, though, right? So, in the example that was given was like, I care about what my wife thinks, I care about what my mom thinks, I care about what my children thinks. You know, there's friends I care about, but if the way they feel don't align with the way I feel, right, then it's not going to have an effect on the way I move or the decision that I make. But now, if they say something that's valid, and you know, hey, I wasn't thinking about that, then yeah, I may make an adjustment. Now
Respect.
there are other people that they still actually let it affect them, even if they don't agree with it.
Right.
And like that's kind of what, you know what I mean, what we're talking about. Like we need to oh, okay, that's crazy. Miles know my cousin. Small ass Minnesota, small world. Um, but yeah, not letting it not letting it affect you. You know what I'm saying? And that's extremely important. And then we just went through, you know, a list of 5 things that you know, when you let it affect you, how can it, you know,
The impact that it
the
has.
impact that it has, right? In a way it can like set you back. And that's like, you know, losing your self-worth or affecting your plans and goals, killing your optimism, you know, giving you very unhealthy levels of stress, and you know, causing people to seek approval. And we all know somebody who's a person like that. They're just constantly seeking approval, whether it's social media, you know what I mean, they're attention whore, they doing whatever they do to try to get as much attention as possible. But that's kind of where we at. So as far as those 5 things I listed that can, you know, have a negative impact on you by listening to, you know, the negativity. So what's the impact? Don't be careless and give your energy to things that don't matter. Make certain that the opinions you acknowledge are actually worth your approval, right? So if it doesn't align with you, your self-worth, your goals, where you're headed, cool. You heard them. You know, you don't got to respond negative. You don't got to try to defend yourself. None of that.
Right.
Let it roll.
Let it roll.
Don't matter. I'm still going this way.
Right.
Simple as that. You know what I mean? And if it gets to a point where that negativity is continuously coming from the same person, right? Now it's up for you to make a change, right? I don't need to be around that. I don't need to be around this energy. I don't need to be around, you know what I mean? Yeah. So moving on to the next segment here, right? The main point. So questions to direct your thoughts. I'm gonna let you take the first 3 said, and I'm gonna come in after you.
Yeah. So basically, with the main point is basically saying that everyone has an objective. Everyone has something that they're looking to achieve and looking to accomplish. You have a point that you're trying to get to, or that you should be trying to get to. Is like when I talk about
Hey, said I want him to. Jarrell just wrote something, and I want him to elaborate on that. I want to make sure I understand what he's saying. He said negative energy still takes energy from that person. What do you mean by that? Like whether they want it to or not, or like if they let it, if they entertain it. Like what do you mean by that?
While he put that in, I'll
Yeah,
go
do
over
your
first.
thing.
I do my thing, but a lot of times, when it comes to your purpose statement, you're taking what you want out of life and you're pursuing that on a day-to-day basis. So there's an objective that you have, right? When it comes to negative opinions and people giving their criticism to you, like we were saying, in many cases, if you allow it to affect you, it can knock you off course. It can get you off balance. It can get you off of rhythm, right? So the questions to direct your thoughts is just basically questions that you ask yourself, to really understand if it's something that really can help you out or if it's something that can hinder you along the way. So one question that you can ask is, does it move you towards your personal goals? Like, is this criticism helping you? Is this opinion actually helping you? Is it getting you towards your personal goals? Is it allowing you to see some fruits of your labor? Is it bringing some things to fruition? Is it allowing some things to be manifested in your life? Like Eric and I, we've been chopping it up for years, right? And there's always been conversations about how certain things can be done better, right? We have different approaches when it comes to business and some other areas, but we always listen to each other. We listen to the criticism because it's constructive. We listen to the feedback, but we know that the
Exactly.
ultimate goal is still the ultimate goal, and listening to each other's perspectives is going to allow us to get to the goal much faster,
And,
right?
and question the intent of whatever it is, the message being delivered. You know what
Right.
I mean? And do you think it's coming from a good place? Because if it doesn't align to your mission statement or your goals or your purpose, then it may be malicious, right? But
Right.
even if it doesn't align, maybe the person means no harm, but it still just doesn't align with what you're trying to do. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So like,
absolutely.
just ignore it.
Got to do that. Then the next one is, does it move you towards more opportunities, right? And everybody's looking for an opportunity, right? Whether it's in business, personal, physical, mentally, spiritually, there's always opportunities that are there. There's always opportunities that we are seeking, right? And so understanding if what this person is saying is leading you to new opportunities, that's imperative, right? Because if it's getting you nowhere, if it's not getting you closer to whatever it is that you're looking to obtain, then that criticism isn't valid, or that energy that they're giving towards you, it serves no purpose. And then the last one is, does it move you towards being fulfilled, right? And everybody, like we were saying, everybody wants that feeling of belonging, being accepted in certain spaces. But ultimately, you have to understand that with being fulfilled, you first have to be comfortable with self. What gives you fulfillment? What brings you that fulfillment? Having that sense of self-worth and self-identity, and understanding how certain things may make you feel, and then getting on the path what allows you to get there, and understanding if the criticism that someone is giving you and the opinions that they have, if it helps, it helps. But if it hurts you, then you got to cut that off. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I'm gonna read his. He just responded. I'm gonna read it and respond to it after I finish these last three bullets. So the next one is, does it move me towards a needed solution? And with this particular one, if someone's bringing negativity towards you, and something that you're not doing right or you're doing wrong, and they're not necessarily bringing ideas or a solution to the table, something to actually help you, right? Then they're not bringing, or it's not helping or move you towards a needed solution, right? They're just being critical just to be critical.
Right.
Like, we can sit and tell people things they do wrong all day, but if you're not offering any help or any suggestion, like, what good are you? Like,
Right.
so Does it move me towards the needed solution? The next one on the list is, does it move me towards furthering a career? So again, if they're providing negativity as it pertains to the work you're doing or work you're trying to do, your business, you know, whatever the case it is this negativity, is this information they're feeding me, is it helping me move or move further in my career, or help me, or with a skill I need, helping me, you know, sharpening the tools on my tool belt? If not, then ignore it. And the last one on the list is, does it move me towards achieving my purpose? And this is simple. You know what I mean? It kind of speaks for itself. Said, you know, has a phrase that he coined, you know, mission purpose, right? Or why can't I fucking remember?
God dang it, man!
I can't never remember the way every week, bro.
Purpose statement.
Purpose statement, right? And really, your purpose statement for your life is your being, right? You know, companies have mission statements, right? The purpose statement is essentially a mission statement for you as an individual. You know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, what is your end goal? How do you want to be remembered? And that changes over time. It's not going to stay the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, as you grow, as you get older, as you learn more, gain more wisdom, become more successful, your thoughts are going to change. And your purpose, you know, your purpose statement may change somewhat. But at the end of the day, is the negativity or the feedback or criticism, is it helping you move towards achieving your purpose? And if not, you probably should ignore it. Now, let me read what he said. I'm doing something right to get energy from that, to comment on my life. If I wasn't doing anything to get that person's attention, then they would never notice. Got you. I would also ask that person, what should I do in their opinion? You never know what might shift their energy. Love what y'all doing, bro. Okay, I get your point, bro. I get what you're saying. Yeah, you know the saying, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping, right? So if you got somebody bringing you're affecting their energy, right? You might not even been thinking about them, but they was definitely thinking about
you. Yeah, you doing something.
Exactly. And I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate you tapping in. Really, all y'all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We try to provide value here.
Give me that attention for sure.
Yeah. But go ahead, say hit us with the final thought.
A final thought. So, working to accomplish any objective may likely be met with some kind of opinion. It's common to hear the thoughts of people that front like they have answers, but have nothing substantial to back it up. Stay focused on what's constructive and steer clear from all that's negative. Right? You know, our objective. I said, you know, hey, you're not working hard enough. Yeah, that's a fact too. Always got to put that work in. But it's important to really, man, just focus on your vision, your goal, your purpose, what you want to achieve. Like, life has its challenges and its difficulties. But most importantly, when you're rooted in a purpose and you have a sense
Tell us when we were younger, right? Like, if you're not doing, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right? Like, if you're not focused on something, then it's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to go over here. Oh, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, nah, I'm right here. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to get there. And in order for me to get there, I need to do boom, boom, boom. And that's where that consistency and that, you know what I mean, having that structure and that discipline, you know what I'm saying? That is the difference. Literally, those things are the difference. If you don't have that discipline, that structure, those goals, that's the difference, right? And I think when you're rooted in that, to Ced's point, and you know what it is you're trying to do, it makes it harder for somebody to come and challenge you because you have a strong foundation. It's hard for somebody to come and knock you off your pivot or knock you off course because you're very strong and you've already been working and seeing the fruits of your labor. So you're like, nah, bro, I know what I'm doing. Like, you can keep that opinion, you know, but I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And whereas if you're not doing that, if you don't have goals, if you don't have aspirations, you don't got things you're working for, then it's a little easier to be knocked off that pivot. Then it's a little easier for you to question, like, well, am I doing the right thing? Like, maybe should I be doing something else? You know what I mean? Like, and that's where some of that doubt and that negativity can kind of sink in. You know what I'm saying? So very, very important to be laser focused, man. Lock in, you know, like set goals, write it down. We do not remember everything. That's like the number one thing I tell people. Like, quit trying to remember everything. Like, you're not gonna remember everything. Like, write it down.
Write it down.
Put it, you know, make a checklist. Whether and when we say write it down, you don't physically got to write it down, because I don't physically write a lot of stuff down, but I have it digitally. You know what I mean? Like, I take pictures of things that I need to remember. I make a note in my phone. I got so many damn notes. It's crazy. And in the rest situation where I can't do one of those, then I may write it down. You know what I mean? But
right.
But very, 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 very important. Anything else you wanted to touch on, Sid?
Nah, man, that was really it. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, just stay laser focused, especially with it being the fourth quarter too. You know what I'm saying? The year's about to close out. 2022 is about to come to an end. 2023 is about to start up soon. You know, whatever wasn't accomplished in these previous 9 months, obviously, you know, October is already here, so you got 2 months and almost a full month of October. But man, just really turning it up.
Hey, and no better time than to start than right now. Don't wait until the beginning of the year. Like, start right now. You know what I'm saying? Don't fall into the whole New Year's resolution. It's gonna be 2023. No, you can be 3 months. You know, start into 2023. So by the time January 1st come around, you already, you know, rocking and rolling and heading towards whatever that goal is. So
you capitalizing on what you've already done. You know what I'm saying?
and I haven't been shy about admitting, like, man, I had a very good first quarter. I had a very good second quarter. Like, literally, no exaggeration, this was probably the most productive year of my life, right? And then Q3, I had a lot of stuff going on, and it slowed me down. I wasn't operating at the same level of efficiency I was Q1 and Q2. Q3 at the beginning, like right before Q3 started, we talked about, you know, okay, middle of the year, time to recalibrate. Your boy kept calibrating. You know what I'm saying?
Using recalibrate.
You know what I mean? It kept going. You know what I mean? It had to, you know what I mean? I had to take the whole Q3 to get back right. You know what I'm saying? But I'm back though. You know what I mean? It's Q4, very focused. We 6 days in. I've already made a whole lot of changes and got, you know what I mean, got back on course. Like, I already see it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. If you don't get nothing from us, you know what I mean, hopefully you get some structure, you know what I mean, and whatnot. But with all that being said, man, we greatly appreciate y'all for tuning in. Everybody who logs in, who watches us live, who goes back and watch the videos, we check the views, we see people who that go back and watch them. So thank y'all. We appreciate y'all greatly. If y'all got any ideas for topics y'all want us to discuss, you know, y'all interested in our opinions on them, feel free to drop us a message, you know, drop a comment, reach out to myself or Sid. And we're more than happy, you know what I mean, to cover those topics. And you know, as long as they're beneficial, you know what I mean, we don't want this to just be a gossip type live. We want it to be beneficial. We want y'all to sit down and be able to get something out of this. You know,
I would not talk about Kanye.
We might be able to get some out of it. We might be able to get something out of that conversation. Hey, and then last but not least, there's a link in the bio to all of our kits. You know, so like when we're talking and we're going through like the different segments, we have kits that go along with what we're talking about, and it's like a visual guide of what we like a summary of what we discussed. And then there's like always like a last page on there with recommendations with either books or links that kind of dives a little bit deeper into what we was talking about. We got some merch coming real soon, some real dope shit coming real soon. So be on the lookout for that. But other than that, man, if you don't do nothing else,
yeah.
keep it thorough, and we'll holler at y'all next week.
Sir.
Deuces.